Hey there, welcome to Whispers Beyond Archives. We're just getting started here, so thanks for checking us out. In case you missed it, our first episode was about Tartaria, the so-called empire that somehow vanished from history. Then in episode 2, we went to Japan, to meet the fast granny. Yeah, she's faster than anyone you know. We're planning to make this channel a place for strange, mysterious stories. The kind of stuff you can listen to late at night, maybe when the world feels a little too quiet. From now on, we'll read some of your comments at the start of each episode. So if you've got ideas, stories, or just want to say hi, drop a comment below. Alright, enough from me. Let's get into tonight's mystery.
There is a world, just beyond the one you know. A place where truth and legend blur, where forgotten stories breathe in the shadows, and impossible things are whispered, when no one is listening. Some say these tales are fiction. Others have lived them. Every corner of this earth holds secrets, buried beneath cities, etched in ancient walls, floating between radio signals, and hidden in plain sight. Tonight, we open the door. We step beyond the veil. Welcome to Whispers Beyond Archives. Have you ever heard of a UFO crash? Not in America, but deep in the woods of England? Not Roswell, but something just as strange, and just as well hidden. In December 1980, in the quiet forest of Rendlesham, near a U.S. Air Force base in Suffolk, military personnel reported lights descending from the sky. What they found would become one of Britain's most chilling and controversial encounters. Some say it was a craft. Others, just lights. But to the men who were there, it was something more. One man returned from the forest with burns on his skin. Another's hair turned white, overnight. Was it radiation? Was it fear? Or something that doesn't belong to this world? Tonight, we journey into the Rendlesham Forest Incident. An encounter that shook seasoned military men to their core. And that remains unexplained to this day. It began on the night of December 26, 1980. Airman First Class John Burroughs was on patrol near RAF Woodbridge, an American military base on British soil. At around 3 a.m., he and two others noticed strange lights in the forest. A glowing red orb descending silently between the trees. At first, they thought it was a downed aircraft. So they entered the Rendlesham Forest, expecting to find a crash site. But what they saw was nothing like any plane. Burroughs and his team described a metallic object, triangular in shape, roughly 2 meters high, with glowing blue and red lights. It hovered just above the ground, completely silent. As they approached, the forest grew unnaturally quiet. No wind, no animals, no sound at all. One of the men later said it felt like the air was charged, like static electricity was crawling over their skin. Then, suddenly, the object rose into the air, moved between the trees, and vanished. The next morning, military investigators found 3 symmetrical depressions in the ground, as if something heavy had rested there. Radiation levels at the site were notably higher than background. Whatever it was, it left a mark. After the incident, something strange began to happen. Official statements downplayed the events. They claimed the lights were from a nearby lighthouse, and the burns on the ground, likely caused by animals. But the men who were there knew better. John Burroughs began suffering from memory loss and anxiety. His medical records disappeared. For years, he fought the U.S. government just to access his own files. Another witness, Larry Warren, spoke out publicly, claiming one of the soldiers exposed to the light lost hair, suffered from skin irritation, and saw his hair turn white overnight. He believed they were exposed to something, radiation, or a non-human energy. And what about Colonel Halt? He stood by his story, even under pressure. Years later, he said, "This was not a lighthouse. This was a structured craft, under intelligent control. Why did official documents vanish? Why were the recordings ignored? And why, decades later, do some of the men still wake in the middle of the night, their dreams filled with beams of light and missing time?" After the incident, something strange began to happen. Official statements downplayed the events. They claimed the lights were from a nearby lighthouse, and the burns on the ground, likely caused by animals. But the men who were there knew better. John Burroughs began suffering from memory loss and anxiety. His medical records disappeared. For years, he fought the U.S. government just to access his own files. Another witness, Larry Warren, spoke out publicly, claiming one of the soldiers exposed to the light lost hair, suffered from skin irritation, and saw his hair turn white overnight. He believed they were exposed to something, radiation, or a non-human energy. And what about Colonel Halt? He stood by his story, even under pressure. Years later, he said, "This was not a lighthouse. This was a structured craft, under intelligent control. Why did official documents vanish? Why were the recordings ignored? And why, decades later, do some of the men still wake in the middle of the night, their dreams filled with beams of light and missing time?" Despite military silence, rumors began to leak. Local newspapers picked up whispers of a UFO incident. Then came interviews with airmen, unofficial reports, and decades later, declassified documents confirming that something happened, even if the truth remained hidden. Some claimed the US and UK governments were working together to study, or suppress, the technology involved. Others believed the encounter was part of a broader pattern, that certain forests, ancient sites, or ley lines draw unexplained phenomena. Conspiracy forums exploded. Why were the soldiers sworn to secrecy? Why did the lights seem to interact intelligently? Why were there sudden changes in equipment signals, time perception, and even emotional states? Was this just a stray object, or an experiment, one that got too close to discovery? The Rendlesham Forest Incident remains one of the most credible UFO encounters in modern history, not just because of what was seen, but because of who saw it. The Rendlesham Forest Incident still holds its secrets. Though years have passed, official files remain incomplete, and many questions are left unanswered. Is it possible that there are forces at work, beyond human understanding? In England's ancient landscapes, from the mysterious Stonehenge to forgotten sacred sites, there are whispers of hidden energy, places where the veil between worlds thins. If the woods of Rendlesham taught us anything, it's that this world is far stranger than we imagine. Thank you for sitting by the fire with us tonight. If you wish to explore further mysteries, subscribe and like. Join us next time on Whispers Beyond. What you've heard tonight may never appear in history books, but stories have a way of surviving, passed in whispers, carved in symbols, buried beneath layers of silence. Was it myth, or something more, waiting to be remembered? Here at Whispers Beyond, we don't claim to hold the truth. We only ask the questions most are too afraid to ask. If this story stirred something in you, if it made you wonder what else lies just outside the edge of reason, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone curious. Because the unknown is always closer than it seems. And we'll be here, listening to the next Whisper Beyond Archive.